Oh, I should get into Moodle though.
So while you do that, I can give a little introduction to the recording that this is Olivia's Biology 11 final portfolio discovery through final reflection. And she's going to walk us through a few pieces of work she's super proud of that she's done so far this session, and some of the big biological discoveries that she's come across both on her own and as part of working with our class that we've had for session 1. Here. So you can take it away, Olivia.
All right. Well, when thinking about projects that I really connect to, well, I thought of two almost immediately. First of all, the fish dissection project. Now, this one I found really enjoyable for me just because, you know, when you have like a math problem that you don't get and you spend like hours and hours just staring at the book until your mind turns to mush and you're just rereading it, and then suddenly, you know, you get some coffee, you look at it a different way, and then you get that eureka moment, and suddenly it's just like your favorite math problem.
Oh, I love that analogy. I've been there so many times with my own work.
Yeah.
So I totally resonate with that.
Oh, yeah, that's well, but yeah, so that's kind of how I felt about this project. Well, that's almost exactly how I felt about this project, just for the simple reason that I had quite a few setbacks, which, in my opinion, is an important part of any well thought out and practiced experiment, because from setbacks one learns. And so I had a bag of fish, mackerels to be more specific, and it turns out I discovered that I should have actually included this in my findings, but I discovered that some fish, the mackerels that came in the bags, they weren't all of equal quality. One was subpar quality. Then and because of that, I chose to dissect another mackerel, and its insides were complete soup. It was a discolored yellowish color that one could barely recognize any of the organs, if at all. And then the third one was a prime specimen for the inside of a mackerel. And I was really happy about that because I thought I was doing something wrong. It was hard to find information on how to dissect a mackerel specifically, because another thing that hadn't occurred to me was that each fish's body might be a bit different. You know, the liver might be in fish that are freshwater versus fish that are saltwater. This is actually true, or it might be the other way around, but either or. Yeah.
I think that,
am I going too slow?
No, you're doing awesome. I think that your point about preparation, specifically as a scientist when conducting a lab, is essential. So the fact that you were able to prepare with 3 different specimens, you know, subconsciously too, because you just got the bag and you weren't maybe even ahead of time. But look how that worked out for you, right? It actually allowed you to be successful in your lab and actually report back to your hypothesis appropriately, rather than having to put your project on hold.
Yes, you know, you're absolutely right about that, and it hadn't even occurred to me. But like, I really learned so much from this project as a whole, because like the preparation thing. I do remember thinking though, you know, thank God I brought I had extra fish, because otherwise I would have been in real trouble. So it's good to be prepared to have a lot of specimens for the process of experimentation, just in case, you know. And also it's good to compare the different ones.
Yeah, and in the future, Olivia, all of that should be included. So even if it felt like it was behind the scenes preparation, that still should be included within the materials of your scientific write-up. Because remember, but the reason why we are, being so specific with our write-ups is that we would want, if someone else, some random person decided to pick up our report, we would want them to actually work through the lab and get the same results that we got. So right from little nitty-gritty details like your preparation, right, for your lab, that needs to all be in there.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot about that, I guess. Well, but I am nodding. You can't see me, but I'm nodding. Yeah. So I really liked this project. Even the dissecting of the fish, I was so happy. I remember being like, oh my gosh, I found the swim bladder. I wasn't just doing it wrong. Everything's here. And it was so cool. And it made me kind of wonder what, like, a fish might be like just caught up out of the ocean or a lake. Because I saw these videos and pictures and stuff of a swim bladder, and if you cut the fish in a certain way and have like the right tools, you can actually get like an intact swim bladder, and it looks really cool. And I wasn't able to get that, but it would have been really cool. It made me curious about the fish as a whole. So that's that project. Could I move on to my other one now?
Yeah.
First, here's my fish. Alright, the next one would be not loading. Oh, there we go. Alright, so the next one would be my calendar of life project. And I really enjoyed this project. It's because well, I wouldn't call it my forte, but it is definitely covers the topic of one of my great interests, which is history, ancient history to be more specific. Now, I did, it's supposed to be a calendar of life, the cosmic calendar of the entire universe broken down into the days of a calendar, but I did it a bit differently. I compacted it into starting from the Cambrian period, which was started in 542 million years ago. And I did this all about fish, basically. So each period, you can see on the side, like the Ordovician period and the Silurian period and the fish period. I did all the fish periods and important moments in fish history as much as I could find anyway. And it was a bit frustrating for a bit when, well, for one thing, the math, I totally went over my head how to calculate the days, but then I figured it out, and that was awesome. And I'm still not too 100% sure that I got it all right, but I think, my math added up pretty well, so quite confident in it. And yeah, it was quite hard to find dates for the stuff, but once I got used to trying to find fish in specific and wording it properly on Google, because sometimes that makes all the difference, I was able to get a lot of data on some really interesting things. And so that's what I enjoyed, because you don't just find my memory's bad, but I could explain a lot of these things, and I also set the record straight, which I always had a misconception about when the great asteroid hit, which was, what was it? There. Yes, I'm pretty sure I thought the Great Dying was the asteroid, or no, it was the Jurassic extinction. I included the extinctions in this just because it affected the fish. So I thought, plus, I like that picture. See, like the Triassic to the Jurassic extinction, now I thought that was when the asteroid hit, but it turns out there's actually several theories as to why it was such an immense mass extinction. It's climate and I think predator relationships or something. I just remember the climate thing, but that's why I put the question mark there to explain that. But I just loved reading about everything, and yeah, not too much happened there. But yeah, I love animals, and I love reading about all of the animals and knowing the history, and I do remember it a little bit better than other things. I just enjoyed making it.
This is one of my favorite projects in the course, and I love that that it really paints a visual picture of Earth's history. You know, for so many of us that aren't, you know, numbers don't stick in our brains. Like I really need to be able to visually see things. So when I first got inspired to create this project for you guys, it was through Carl Sagan's Cosmic. You know, he has like a Netflix series that's all about sharing the name of it is all around cosmic explorations, and he alludes to this idea within his workforce because it has worked for me. It's the only time I've ever really been able to understand the evolution of Earth's history from the Big Bang till now. Was putting it in that calendar formation and being able to recognize the stages. So it's really cool how you were able to personalize this one. Actually, I haven't seen any other of your classmates do it this way. This is really beautiful. You chose wonderful images, and you did personalize it a lot. So.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you mentioned one of your key learnings being that you were kind of floored by a couple of the dates that you kind of had wrong in your mind. But what was some of the interesting facts? I remember in class you shared with us some really great, interesting facts. Were there other ones that you wanted to mention right now before we finish this topic?
Sorry, what did you say about interesting facts?
If there was any last interesting facts you wanted to share on the recording today. But in class you shared with us a whole bunch of things that you were walking away with of your key learnings.
Okay, well, two things. One thing, giant guinea pigs exist, people.
You're gonna say that.
Need to spread the word. There's semi-aquatic
animals.
They're adorable.
Were you able to travel back in time, Olivia?
Oh, I totally would. I would go see the giant guinea pigs. Although I might be scared because that entire period, I think I might be wrong about this because I actually don't remember which periods they were. But there's like a period where there's giant everything, you know, giant snakes and, well, more like a giant eel type thing, and like much larger turtles and crocodiles and things like that. It's kind of a whole swampy area where everything is a lot warmer. But yeah, I wouldn't about that. And also, where's the giant fish? Those guys. Yeah, I actually found those on the news because it was a recent discovery. That's another thing that's amazing is that all of these dates, even in the science community, are still debated and not for sure. And they change so often, like the whole explosion of fish growth in life usually happens after an extinction. But this guy, he was discovered, a fossil of him was discovered recently, and it showed that it showed that the explosion of life was actually a lot bigger than we originally thought that it was, which I thought was pretty cool. You know, it just goes to show how crazy different things are. And another thing I'd like to point out is that look at all of this. There's like, you can literally find a page on the internet that says, which I included in my resources, by the way, but which says like 5 of the greatest extinctions. I mean, there's the volcano thing, there's the great dying, asteroids have hit, and other than that, species have just, you know, the climate has changed and species have no longer been able to, thrive in the climate that they're facing. so with all of that, I mean, I'm just kind of worried for humanity because I mean, it seems like the space between all of these extinctions is pretty vast, talking, a couple million years, that kind of thing, at the very least. So, I mean, maybe one day, maybe even in our lifetime, maybe not, we could be looking at another mass extinction with human beings. I mean, I just love,
Huge
yeah,
theories being thrown there right now.
I love how you look at the past and see the future. It's just so cool.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it. That's everything.
So my last question here is based off of the 4 big ideas within our course. Um, which of the big ideas do you think works best with this second project of yours? So again, I threw them in the chat box there, but the big ideas were 1, that life originated because of unique. 2, all organisms have characteristics that define themselves as living and interdependent. 3, living things are inherently interdependent. And 4, living things are diverse and evolve over time.
I think that that this project at least identifies most probably with either the 4th one or the 1st one. Although I'm leaning more towards the 4th one. Pardon?
Multiple big ideas. I'd say almost all of them.
Well, yeah, for sure.
Right?
But if I had to pick one,
because it is a historical representation, I think that this project really paves the way for a lot of the more specific projects that we did within the course. Studying fish, studying mushrooms, studying birds. Yeah. This was a really holistic project, so I love that you included it because I think it gives a really great summary of a lot of the key points that you walk away with.
Yes.
So this leads us into the final piece, Olivia. Let's go back into your document. And I didn't take too many notes because, again, we're recording this. So the recording serves as the authentication and the sort of proof of summary. So scroll down to self-assessment piece, though.
Self-assessment.
It's important for me in this course to invite my learners into the assessment piece with me. You've been working really, really hard throughout this course, and I want to value your own discoveries and the amount of work that you put into things behind the scenes that I don't get to see. I want to hear about that right now as we move through self-assessment for your efforts throughout this entire course. So the way that I structure this is that we're going to come up with 5 categories that you would like to be assessed through. So some learners choose things like, creativity or commitment or dedication or interest or ability to see the holistic picture or ability to apply it to the learning outcomes or biological discoveries, key learnings, right? There's a lot of different categories. So let's come up with 5. And they can be ones that I didn't even mention. You can make your own right now. So we're going to start. I'm going to put a table in here. And 5 columns. So in the columns here, start to type out your 5 areas.
Okay, I got 2. What were others that you mentioned? Are any of them down here?
Well, while those ones are on your mind, go ahead and add in the second category some proof. And it can just be little bullet point forms. It can be one word. It could be a project where you felt like you really represented that. Let's delete this one here. So let's just make it 4. Those 3 are really, really quite good. So one more that can round these off. You've got the passion side of things. You've got the commitment. You've got have the ability to be creative, let's pull it into the content of it.
Oh, yeah, that's a good word.
Yeah. Excellent. Okay. So now this is to be done with both of us, but I want you to lead the charge. Starting to type in and maybe vocalize if you wish some of the proof. Like, why did you put interest there? You know, what were some of your passions that were during this course?
Now, do we need?
How can you show that to me?
Now, do we need visible proof, like exact examples, or can I like be like, well, I felt interested in this. I really enjoy learning about this. You know.
That's perfect.
Okay.
And I'm adding in here as well. Okay.
No, I was gonna.
Dancing with each other.
Yeah.
couple minutes here of the meeting. So if you scroll down, you'll see that there's a scale here that runs from 1 to 5. 1 being limited evidence of engagement or interest in communication and learning is quite basic. 3 being demonstrates learning of skills and understanding, consistently and directly, attempts to critically think, and 5 being like demonstrates proficiency and critical and creative thinking is evidence without. Communication and learning is complex but very clear and appropriate. So just giving you an idea of the 1 to 5, now we can go through each of these groups. I want you to actually see and share with me where you think that you land on this. And if I think it's inappropriate, I'll help guide you a little bit. But I think this is really illuminating, just to be able to like say to ourselves, okay, how did I do here? And this gives us some growth for the future as well.
Okay. All right. So for interest, I would put a 4 just because I think that I wasn't like always, at least in meetings, the most enthusiastic and vocal person there for sure. But I think I was most definitely interested in the course, so it wasn't like like average sort of mild interest.
I know that you're not
okay.
the most social learner. I know that you're challenging yourself by being in these courses with us.
Yeah.
So that part of it, is like, yeah, I see you reaching out and working on that. I love it. And I also understand why, it's a little challenging sometimes and why maybe you don't show up to meetings or whatnot. That's, in the commitment category, though, that's something that you can work on.
Thank you.
The interest is there, Olivia. I love it. And when you showed up at those meetings and you shared it with me, or we chatted on the side and you shared it with me, like, it was genuine and it made me really grateful that you're in this course. It seems like it was a really good one.
Yeah, I used to, at least in grade 7, I used to like put my hand up all the time in class and stuff, but it just feels different with the computer, and sometimes I'm worried that, I might be wrong, and then I'm like thinking, oh, you should still say something though, contribute, but I just, I'm not still totally comfortable with sharing, but.
Well, if I can give you any confidence boosters there by saying, the times you did contribute, it really benefited your classmates and it impressed me, so keep on doing it.
Thank you. I feel like I'm getting better at contributing and stuff. I feel a little more comfortable with that than I was. At first, it was like, if you're like, is everyone here? And I'm like, oh no, do I have to talk? Okay, so template for projects. So for creativity, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty happy with my creativity, but at the same time, I feel like, there were opportunities where I could have been more so creative than I was. Not to say that I was not at all creative, just that I could have taken advantage of those opportunities to be more creative. So I wouldn't give myself a 5.
Okay. What do you think? We can do points, right? Is it like a 4.5?
I just give myself a 4.
4? Okay, and then the last one is content.
Okay.
At least a 4.
All right. How about 4.5?
Let's do that. 4.5. So
I'm quite proud of my projects.
8, 9, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.5 overall. In this category. I mean, self-reflection is challenging because I do find that a lot of the time it's lower than the mark that I would give learners. You guys are kind of tough on yourselves.
Maybe they always say you're your own best critic.
So that's a 78% as a holistic mark. Everything from commitment to passion.
All right.
How does that feel?
change that. I like that mark better.
This is not your mark for the course, don't worry. This is just a small piece of our exit entry mark today.
Oh, good.
Okay, Olivia, I'm going to stop the recording here.